Welcome to another show. My name is Sav. Today with Leroy, we're going to show you some of the exercises, how they should be done correctly. Bench press, dumbbell curls, low pulley rows, and shoulder press. First exercise we're going to do is the bench press. Bench press is probably the most important exercise that everybody uses and everybody should use in their training routine. We're just going to do it correct way, how it should be done. Okay, Leroy. What I must say, you should always start light and warm up. Make sure you warm up with your joints. What I would suggest a little bit more, Leroy done the exercise more or less okay. What I would like to see is as you're coming up, can I just show you? I want you to do it a little bit more controlled so it takes pressure off the joints. What I really want to ask you a few questions today is, for example, what is your most favorite body part that you like training more?
Well, to be honest with you, it always has been my chest and let's say my arms, but recently, to be honest with your advice, I may say, because I was getting a bit top heavy, it is now trying to spread overall through the whole body, as in shoulders, legs and everything else.
Basically, as you're getting heavier as well, you have to be very careful, because what happens is the more explosiveness you create, the more your joints, your tendons, your ligaments you're using, and that takes away from the muscle. And also, obviously as we get older, there is a much more wear and tear in the joints, and you're asking for trouble. You want to be training when you're 65 and 70, not by the time you're 50. You know, how old are you now, Leroy?
Getting over 46.
46. So by the time you're 56, you have to be careful. I'm 54 next month, so I know how it feels. When was the last time you had any injuries or any problems with your joints or anything like that?
I've not had any injuries for quite a while now. As you know, I've been here now training with you for a while. When I first started training, I was like everyone else, lifting heavy weights, lugging them around. But obviously, you've taught me a few things and all that, and I haven't had an injury in quite a few years now, to be honest with you.
Remember what we said, slightly slower and more control. Okay. Slow it down, slow up. That's better. Make sure you keep it in the middle of your chest, so your arms are in line. Bench press is the best exercise for chest, but there's three things you have to remember. You have to make sure you use the right weight, you bring the bar in the middle of your chest in a nice controlled manner, and never ever explode upwards. It's very important. Because you're controlling it, you can lock out and there will be no problem there, but do not explode and lock out. It's very, very dangerous, especially as you get older. It's even more harmful. If you're trying to stimulate the chest muscles, this is the way you have to do it. Okay. What I've observed over the years is that as the weight gets heavier, people tend to bring the weight lower and their elbows lower, because it makes it easier to press the weight. But by doing that, you're taking away from the chest muscles and you're utilizing more shoulder and more arms, but you're trying to train your chest. But because people have this idea in their head that the more weight they use, the bigger and stronger they're going to get, it doesn't really work.
Should we do a typical
bad? Do a typical rep that is done in
what we see in gyms every day. And the chest bounce, which tends to happen.
This is what you must never do. It's so much pressure on the shoulders, on the thighs of the pectoral muscles, with the delt. And in reality, I mean, the weight, it wasn't very heavy, so he was doing it more control. But when people do that and they have a much more weight on there, they start unbalancing the pressure. You get more pressure on one side, less pressure on the other side. You end up, and the most common injury in the gym is shoulders and from the bench press exercise. And this is the most popular, maybe the best exercise for chest, but it's become, in reality, the worst because of the way people executed the movement. So remember, do it correctly and you can do it for a lot longer and you can train till you're 80. Hydration is one of the most important things while you're training. So make sure you stay hydrated while you're training, and also you make sure before and after. It's one of the most important things while you're actually doing exercises. The next exercise we're going to do is dumbbell curls. Dumbbell curls is probably the most used exercise for biceps that everybody uses at one time or another, but there's a way of doing it correctly. I'm going to give you 3 tips to maximize your gains from doing dumbbell curls. One is make sure you do not do it alternatively, you do them together. 2, make sure you use the right weight so you don't end up swinging the weight and throwing it up. And 3, make sure you control the positive and the negative part of the movement. And this way, you can't go wrong. You're going to protect your joints, and as a mature trainer, it's more important than ever to be able to control and minimize risk of injury in short term and long term. That was okay, but what I want to see a bit more is when you're actually starting the movement, I want you to take it up. I don't want you to throw it up, and make sure you control it down. And your wrists stay upright. Do not bend your wrist inwards because it takes the pressure off the bicep and puts it on the forearm. And the negative part of the movement should be done a little bit slower than the positive. So positive is coming up, and the negative is controlling it down. Because we're always a little bit stronger controlling the weight down. We have more strength in the negative part. How often do you train? How often do you split your body? How do you do your workout?
I try and do at least 3 times a week. I think that's your sort of minimum of trying to keep sort of everything going. I try and do 2 muscle groups every workout, otherwise you end up just sort of overloading a muscle or whatever like that. And it is just keeping now just sort of form rather than weight.
What I want Leroy to do is show how most people are doing exercise and how you should never do it, and especially as a mature trainer, it's definitely no.
This is what you see in the gym a lot.
Alternate, yeah?
Yep. Is the twist and the turn.
So when you're doing that, a lot of the pressure is going off the bicep, it's going on the forearm. And also, because you're doing them alternatively, you can create more momentum, which takes away from the actual muscle doing most of the work. Part of it, the muscle does it, but a lot of it is coming from the joint and the momentum that you're creating to throw the weight up. So this is why, by doing that, you're putting a lot more strain in the joint here with the tendons, and also on the side of the forearm. That's why I have people coming up to me all the time saying, oh, I've got pain here, I can't do this, I can't do that. And because of the overuse of the tendon, you end up getting tendinitis. And when that happens, it could become chronic, which you end up suffering for the rest of your life. And as a mature trainer, if you've been doing it for a few years, all of a sudden, you come to a point that you can't even do normal bicep or even back workout because you need that power and strength and the joint to be working fully all the time when you're doing any pulling movement. And that's a very, very common problem with wrong training.
You see loads of people in the gym with the bandage on the arms where they've literally put too much strain on there.
We just come to the end of the part 1. In part 2, we're going to do seated rows and shoulder press. See you after the break.